Hey there, Bulldogs. Welcome to another episode of OTH News. This week we have coverage of our Veterans Day program, questions for our long-term teachers, and our football team's advancement to the first round of the playoffs. All this and more, OTH News starts now. This past Monday, the high school hosted our annual Veterans Day program to celebrate and recognize these brave men and women who have served our country. We have asked veterans a few questions about their service.
I was in the United States Army and the Texas Army National Guard. The branch, I went in a combat engineer in 1988. I was active duty then, and I went to Desert Storm. I was stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia. I went and came back. I was at Fort Stewart, I'd say 5 years. Then I went to Korea, to the DMZ. I was there for a year. Then I went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and I got out active duty and went National Guard. Then I did National Guard for 10 years.
The military.
I was a combat engineer. That means I worked on construction equipment such as bulldozers, forklifts, heavy trucks, stuff like that. I did that active duty for 6 years. Then I went to the National Guard, and I went to Cavalry Scout, a recon scout. So that was probably the hardest part, because I went from sleeping in a tent to sleeping on the ground for 6-7 years.
So I enlisted originally in Louisiana, and I was part of the Louisiana National Guard. We were a transportation battalion, and when I moved to Texas, then I was in a signal battalion. So it was also Texas National Guard, all divisions of the Army. In Louisiana, being a transportation company, we moved heavy equipment like the Abrams tanks, and anytime there was going to be a hurricane or anything like that in the Gulf of Mexico that was going to hit the Louisiana border, we would get called up to go down and rescue the tanks from the hurricanes. In Texas, our unit was a signal battalion, and so we did have a mission to Bosnia, and after 9/11, our unit was also called to stand guard at the DFW airport. So my job was supply. I was the unit supply specialist, and at both stations I was the unit armorer, so I was in charge of all of the weapons for our entire company.
Chapel Hill is home to several teachers who have worked at the school for many years. We have interviews with some of our veteran teachers who have agreed to share their experiences teaching.
How long have you been teaching at Chapel Hill?
So I've been in education for 18 years. I've been a teacher all 18, but I've been at Chapel Hill for 17 of those years. So I hired on in the fall of 2008.
What's keeping you here?
Well, I mean, it's a decent job. I mean, I enjoy being a teacher. I teach the classes that I want to teach. I mean, I teach calculus and I teach pre-calculus, and I enjoy teaching those classes, and it's hard to just waltz in somewhere else and teach those classes, so I'm still here.
Where do you find the motivation to continue teaching?
The relationships with the students, being able to joke around with them, watching them succeed, as cliche as it is, that light bulb moment, that's what keeps you going.
What's your favorite part of teaching?
The relationship with the students, being able to needle them and you know, kind of poke fun at them sometimes, but just, you know, building that relationship, watching them grow over the year and graduate, because I teach mostly juniors and seniors, and that light bulb moment is unparalleled. I mean, just seeing them get it and just go, oh, it's the greatest.
What was your biggest challenge as a teacher?
I think The biggest challenge I had as a teacher probably was figuring out the classroom management aspect of it, just figuring out how to run a classroom, how to keep the students in line and make sure that they're learning. That was probably the hardest thing. Also, it was really difficult during the COVID shutdown because I was still teaching college classes for dual credit, and they still had to have new material that I hadn't taught, so I was having to churn out videos and have meetings over Google Meet for question and answer, and it was brutal.
My next question was also about COVID, but how did it affect your teaching during the pandemic and after?
So I did have to churn out all those videos to try to get them to learn whatever material we had left, and then grading took longer because I didn't have the physical papers, so I was having to switch back and forth between screens a lot, and grading took a lot longer, not to mention I was juggling trying to educate my own biological children at the same time, and I was very, very tired, and it was a difficult time. Now, how that changed going forward, I went ahead and I continued with making videos, and those were useful for kids that were absent or anybody that needed to go back through the lesson. They could get an opportunity to watch it again. So having those and building up that library was a very positive experience.
My final question, what are your thoughts on the new facilities that they're currently building?
Well, I think they'll be lovely when they're done. Unfortunately, while construction's going on, that's not ideal. I mean, most of it's going on right outside my classroom, so I get a lot of construction noises during the day and fumes from exhaust and all of those kinds of things. So it's kind of rough right now, but I imagine it'll be great when it's done.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been teaching at Chapel Hill?
25 years.
What's something keeping you here?
It's my inner drive to help students understand math and hopefully find the love of math.
Where do you find the motivation to continue teaching?
Mainly in seeing somebody finally understand it, and I want to help the future generations.
What's your favorite part of teaching?
Seeing the light bulb come on when somebody actually understands it and gets it.
What's your biggest challenge as a teacher?
My biggest challenge as a teacher. Look down. Accepting the change in the attitudes of people toward learning and education. It's not like it used to be.
How did COVID-19 affect your teaching during the pandemic?
It forced me to go more into technology. I'd wanted to and never found the time, and it forced me to find the time to trust the new platforms out there. I didn't trust them to teach my students.
What are your thoughts on the new facilities currently under construction?
I'm excited about the CTE building being attached to this campus down here. It's been feeling like we're two separate campuses, and now we're one whole campus together, plus all the extra opportunities for the students.
Now, as several sports seasons are coming to an end, our football team has made playoffs and is playing their first game this Friday against the Hargrave Falcons. Coach Reardon is here to share his thoughts on our team's advancement.
Chapel Hill is entering playoffs once again, and the team is working harder than ever under Coach Reardon's lead.
The thing is, we've had a bye week leading up into the playoffs, so last week we got to, work on us and get better, fix some of the things that, that we needed to work on and get better at. And then this weekend we went in and put the full game plan together and just been coming to work every day, rep by rep, day by day, trying to get our guys better and ready to go to put a good product on the field Friday night for our school and our community.
Not only are the football kids working hard, but they're also improving from their past mistakes.
We've had some good runs over the last 3 years here, getting to the 5th round 2 years in a row, and then last year getting all the way to the state championship game. It's been some very successful runs, so just trying to replicate that, trying to get hot right now as the playoffs are starting, trying to hit on all cylinders and make sure all three phases of the game are being played at its highest level. And we still hadn't peaked yet, but we've been getting better each and every week. So we just want to peak in the playoffs, get hot, and try to get on a run and bring that magic that happens when you have deep playoff runs to your community and to your school.
The journey back to AT&T Stadium starts this Friday against Huffman Hargrave.
You know, Huffman's 9-1. They're a very good football team. They got second place in that district. Their only loss was to LCM, a team that we beat in the first round last year. You know, they were 1-9 2 years ago, and then they're 9-1 this year. So they've had a big turnaround, big culture change. Offensively, they've been very successful, scoring 50-plus points a game. Running back is very good and hard to tackle. Quarterback is elusive, is fast, can throw the ball very well. And they got a couple of receivers. Got a D1 tight end receiver that's going to Rice. So they're offensively, they're going to be a good challenge for us. You know, if we can tackle the running back and contain the quarterback, I think we have a good chance of being successfully on defense. And then on offense, we just got to make plays and continue to build on what we've done the last 3 weeks. We've ran the ball well, we've thrown the ball well, and being able to do both helps us keep the defense on their heels. And you know, that's the plan is to execute on all three phases of the game and put a product on the field Friday night that's successful and beats Huffman and moves on to round 2.
That's all for this week's episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. Episodes air every Wednesday morning on our school's YouTube channel. This is OTH News signing out.